Good morning, everyone, and welcome you all to our AABN's 207th weekly webinar today. It's heartwarming to see a happy bunch of participants on a Sunday morning. Welcome to you all for responding to our call and being here. Over the past 4 years and 9 months, we have been able to put together online programs to keep our AABN community not just engaged, but also meet a range of inspiring people who can help shape your ideas and thoughts. Today, we have one such personality, Mr. G. Sundarrajan, a respected environmental activist and social visionary. What makes him an apt choice for this audience is that he too is an alumnus of Annamalai University and he belongs to the 1996 batch of Electronics and Instrumentation Engineering. And I must say that he is the perfect choice for a program titled Climate Change and the Economy, Risk, Realities and Resilience. The geopolitical landscape is undergoing seismic shifts, creating new economic and strategic pressures. Rivalries between major powers have disrupted long-established supply chains, introducing unpredictability. Companies are now forced to adapt, often at significant costs. Long-standing investments in existing supply chains can become obsolete as political winds shift. This forces businesses to reassess how to balance risk management with sustained climate action in an increasingly fragmented global economy. For many, navigating these global tensions while meeting environmental obligations across multiple jurisdictions has become exceptionally challenging. Irrespective of our background, every one of us can play an important role in making the world sustainable for our future generations. At the juncture we find ourselves in today, there can be none more fitting than Mr. G. Sundarrajan to address, enlighten, and take questions from this diverse group. G. Sundarrajan has a bachelor's degree in electronics and instrumentation engineering from Annamalai University and belongs to the 1995 batch. Sundarrajan is largely known for his environmental activism through Poovulagan Nanbargal, of which he is a volunteer coordinator. He is a member governing council on climate change, Government of Tamil Nadu, advisor, promotion for new energy and energy efficiency, Tangido. For living, he runs digital solutions and robotics companies. G. Sundarrajan is the CEO and director of HNS Technologies Private Limited and Surinova Private Limited. Sundarrajan has been part of many environmental initiatives across Tamil Nadu, including campaigns on climate change, safe foods, and against nuclear plants in Kudankulam. Poovulagan Nanbargal is actively involved in taking the awareness about climate change to various strata of people. Conducted climate meets with various elected representatives, leaders of political parties, different social movements and youth. Successfully conducted youth and climate and reached out to more than 1 lakh students across different schools, colleges and youth clubs. Activists of Poovulagan Nanbargal, including Sundarrajan, have strived hard for several decades to change the narrative about environmentalism in Tamil Nadu, making it people-centric. In doing so, the organization has been able to sustain the momentum around environmental activism in Tamil Nadu. Sundarrajan has written 3 books in Tamil on environmental issues in the state. Sundarrajan is also part of the editorial team of Poovulagan magazine, a monthly magazine that covers a wide range of issues, including eco-politics, eco-economics, organic farming, water issues, creative works with a focus on environmental safety, student section, Q&A, and contemporary issues. As an alternative magazine, Poovulagan reaches out to a fair number of audiences, receiving wide acclamation and creating positive impact. He has been actively involved in several social activities in various platforms for promoting environmental consciousness and awareness among public. He was adjudged as top 10 persons by the popular Tamil media group Ananda Vigidan in the year 2012 and was awarded Nambikai Tamilan award by Pudiya Talamurai channel, has contributed significantly to create awareness. We have taken upon ourselves a very ambitious program for this morning with an admittedly short space of time. I do not want to make the time available any shorter and therefore wish us all an informative exchange of ideas and information that stimulates an appetite for more. With a personality like Mr. Sundarrajan, you can go on and on eulogizing, but let me stop here and let the audience have the privilege of listening to you. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Sundarrajan.
Good morning, everyone. Am I audible?
Yeah, audible, Sundarrajan.
Uh, I'm very happy and proud, to be part or amongst my own fellow alumni and also others who have been doing this continuously for 4 years and 9 months. And there is a saying that if you are able to do something for 3 weeks continuously, then it becomes a regular habit for every one of you. So I think AABN's Sunday morning meet that you have been conducting for the past nearly about 5 years is a phenomenal achievement considering the kind of everyday pressures that we all undergo, and especially on a Sunday, sacrificing your holiday, spending your time with your family, and you all have come together for the past about 200 plus weeks, which shows the commitment. And this can happen only with the people from Annamalai University. I think I'm proud of that legacy and also that campus. I mean, a lot of people have asked me. A lot of people have asked me, what sort of engineering knowledge that you gained in Annamalai University campus in the 4 years of your stay. I would immediately reply back saying, I went to 4 years to an engineering college. There are some of my friends who studied engineering, but I went to an engineering college for 4 years. But what that campus has taught me is courage, without which I will not stand before you. அதாவது in Tamil we call it as எது வந்தா பார்த்துக்கலாம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவோம்ல. Let us see whatever comes அப்படின்னு நம்ம சொல்லுவோம் இல்லையா. I think that courage has come to me from Annamalai University. I'm not sure how many of you would say the same words or would believe in this, but for me personally, whatever I am today, be it an entrepreneur or be it a climate activist who is challenging large corporations and other things, I think that courage came to me from Annamalai University. I will say this even in my sleep, deep sleep. If somebody wakes me up and asks me what made you what you are today, I will definitely say that 4 years of 91 to 95 in Annamalai University. Even if we have a time clock now, I will reset to 1991 and go back to the campus that I came out from. So that is the proud and privilege that I have got, that I was able to go to the college for 4 years time, and due to that I'm also able to meet you all today. So I talk in front of you with gratitude and also with urgency. Gratitude because you have sacrificed your Sunday morning for a common topic like this, for climate change issue. That is the gratitude. And urgency because what the humanity faces today. So I would like to dwell more into the urgency part in detail. If you have to write the history of Earth, we used to write BC and AD, before Christ and after after death. So that was more religious. So the world, the people and state, government, everybody came together, and they decided that they will not write before Christ, but they will write BCE, before Common Era and after Common Era. BCE was the term that started to use Common Era and before Common Era. So it's CE and BCE. That's Common Era is now, and before Common Era is what used to be BC. But if you have to write the history of humans in this earth, you will have to write before 2024 and after 2024. So why? 2024 is a defining year in the history of humans in this earth, my dear friends. 2024 is the most defining year, I will say, in the history of humans, not just in the last 300 years or 200 years. In the history of humans, 2024 is the most defining year. 2024 is the year in which the world faced extreme disasters every single day in that year. every single day. It could be flash floods, it could be drought, it could be forest fire, it could be cyclones, it could be landslides, it could be drought, it could be heat waves, what nots. Every day, in at least in any part of the world, 2024 saw an extreme climate event every day in 2024. That is why I said 2024 is a defining year. So before 2024 will be called as pre-climate era, and post 2024 will be called as post-climate era. We'll have to now say whether it's before 2024 or after 2024. So why I'm saying this? Humanity is at crossroads today. A lot of people say we'll have to protect the earth. Because the earth will protect itself. You don't have to worry. Earth has protected itself for the past millions of years. But what the humans have to do now is whether you can protect yourself and the other species. So why I said humanity is at crossroads, because we are in a junction in which 5 disasters are attacking us. A, climate change. B, biodiversity loss. C, emergence of zoonotic diseases like COVID. D, pollution. And E, inequality. So this 5 issues is confronting at the same time in the history of humans for the first time. Humans have this earth has faced, I mean, whenever I talk this, a lot of people say, hey, you know what? The world has faced mass extinctions 5 times before the humans came into it, before the 6th. We are moving towards 6th mass extinction. People have come and told us that, hey, if it is 6th mass extinction, the earth has faced 5 mass extinctions before. So why do you make a hell a lot of this? I don't deny that. The earth has faced 5 mass extinctions before this. But there's a big but there. But when those 5 mass extinctions happened, when the dinosaurs were wiped out, when the mammoths become extinct, so when 65-70% of the species become extinct, it is called as mass extinction. So when dinosaurs were become extinct, when the mammoths, which is the earlier form of the elephants, become extinct, there were no human beings in this earth. We have to understand that. What's the difference between the previous 5 mass extinctions and this one? When the 5 mass extinctions happened, there was no human being in this world, in this earth. And the reason for those 5 mass extinctions were something beyond the control of any of the species that was present at that point of time. It was a volcanic eruption, or an asteroid or meteoroid strike from some other Milky Way or solar systems or planets or whatever you want to call. So for the first time in the history of Earth, the 6th mass extinction is being caused by one species, which is human beings. So there's a lot of difference between the previous 5 mass extinctions and the 6th mass extinction that is happening now. Since it is happening because of the activities of the anthropogenic activity, the World Meteorology Organization and the historians have now declared that the world has moved away from Holocene era to Anthropocene era, which means an era which is completely dominated by the activities of human beings. So now we have entered the Anthropocene era. And my dear fellow colleagues, comrades and friends, I will say that today humanity has entered uncharted territory now. A situation like this where the humans have never lived before in the past about 10,000, 15,000 years. About hundreds and thousands of years back, this earth was completely covered with ice. We called it as Ice Age. But slowly evolution happened. Life forms came into being, and slowly, all forms of life and species came into being, and finally, humans came into being. So, the last species to evolve in this earth are the human beings. That is why I'm saying with particular emphasis on the last species, because India's birdman or ornithologist Salim Ali will say that birds can live in a world without humans, but humans cannot live in a world without birds. Why? Because if the birds are not there, the insects will destroy our food systems. Birds eat the insects and keep our food security in balance so that we could thrive and survive. Just without honeybees, friends, just without honeybees, humans cannot survive more than 4 years, because honeybees are the one which pollinate about 70% of our food. If pollination doesn't happen, we will not get food to eat. So as the humans evolved as the last species, and only about 12,000 years back, about 10,000 to 12,000 years back, we started to settle in a place, or we discovered / invented agriculture. Before that, whatever we were able to hunt or whatever came out of fruits, we ate that. When probably the earlier forms of human beings, we ate that. But we were able to set in a place in the last 10,000 years and started small level of agriculture only because, I'm saying only because, the temperature variability settled between +1 degree and -1 degree. Previous to that, the temperature will vary from +10 to -10. It will vary from +10 to -10. But when the temperature variability settled down anywhere between 1 to 1, +1 to -1, we started to settle in a place. Agriculture was discovered or invented. We started to live as tribes, communities. Thus was born villages. Thus was born, chieftains. Thus was born kingdoms. Then we became state. Then we become nation states, and then we become a whole geographical world that we see today. Is only because the temperature variability was +1 to -1 in the last 10,000, 12,000 years. That's the primary factor why humans were able to settle, do agriculture, make food, live in a place, build houses, wear clothes, and also started to settle down in as nation states with government, democracy, and many other things. So anything fundamental to the existence of the present system is the temperature difference of 1 to +1 to -1 degrees. But what happened after during industrial revolution or post-industrial revolution? Whichever has to be beneath the surface of the earth, the fossil fuels. What are fossil fuels? Fossil fuels are nothing but the millions of years ago, the life forms in this earth, it could be flora or fauna, they all died, become decomposed, and got converted into coal or gas or oil or uranium, whatever you call. So these are fossil fuels. So during industrial revolution, we start to take this fossil fuel and start to burn, which started to settle down carbon in the atmosphere. So since the carbon settled in the atmosphere, whatever heat that came from the sun for the life form to sustain, we need heat. I like to add, we need heat. Without heat, life form cannot sustain this earth. That is why if you see where there is abundance of biodiversity, only in the tropical regions. South America, abundant in biodiversity. Africa, abundant in biodiversity. India, Thailand, Sri Lanka, Malay, all these countries which are tropical countries are abundant in biodiversity. There are life forms in the North Pole, in the poles, Arctic or Antarctic, and also in the Northern Hemisphere, but they are not as diverse as what we have in the South Pole, which is basically close to equator or below the equator region. So if we want to have that, the only reason is because of heat. if you want biodiversity, if you want life forms to sustain this earth, you need heat. But because of the fossil fuel burning and the carbon settling down in the atmosphere, whatever heat came from the sun got trapped into this atmosphere, which we called as greenhouse gas. Because of the trap of greenhouse gases, the temperature of this earth start to increase, which we call it as global warming. And because of global warming, we are now facing climate change. This is the fundamental, friends. We call something as an albedo effect. The amount of solar radiation that comes and hits the earth and the amount that goes back decides whether we are in ice age or whether we are in climate change era. So we'll have to understand this. Because we started to burn fossil fuels, the earth is under severe threat. Now we'll have to understand that. And I would also like to add, we all came to know about climate change long back. In the 1950s itself, companies know this, but they kept quiet. Only we start to feel the intensity of climate change. The UNFCCC, which is basically United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, formed IPCC, which is basically Intergovernmental Plan on Climate Change, which is the apex body for the climate change initiatives of UN and also for the various countries. So IPCC was formed during 1990s, and IPCC is now spearheading the research, communication, many other things as far as climate change is concerned. Why I said urgency at the beginning? For every 4 or 5 years' time, IPCC will bring out assessment reports. Assessment reports are which will tell the world that climate change is accelerating, it is becoming more thing, how much, why, what are the factors. So very detailed research reports. Mr. Suresh, who is also part of this conversation, has done a lot of work on IPCC reports. So every 4 or 5 years' time, the AR reports will come out, which is basically assessment period report. So the AR6 report came out in 2021. Again, I'm stressing its urgency because for the first time in the history of IPCC and also the humanity, the AR6 report for the first time said climate change is only because anthropogenic activity. This we are able to come to a conclusion in unequivocal terms. மறுதலிக்க முடியாத வகையில் மனித செயல்பாடுகள் மட்டுமே காலநிலை மாற்றத்திற்கு காரணம் என ஐபிசிசி சொன்னது. Before that, 60% were humans, 40% were natural systems, 80% were humans, 20% natural systems. So, but in 2021 AR6 report, the first report, which is the physical sciences report, which said in unequivocal terms that climate change is because anthropogenic activities. And it did not stop there. It said children who were born after February 1986, they have not seen one normal month in their entire lifetime. Imagine. Children who were born after February 1986 have not seen one normal month in their entire lifetime, which means January 2025 is hotter than January 2024. February 2024 was hotter than February 2023. And not only that, the report went on further that children who are born today, when they reach the age of 30 by around 2050, what are the disasters that their grandfathers, the grandfathers of the children who are born today, would have faced only once in their lifetime, these children will face once in every 2 years, said that report. Which means what? A disaster will come, we will bounce back. Another disaster will come, we will bounce back. Another disaster will come, we will bounce back. So the new normal is going to be life between two disasters. The new normal is not life between normal life. The new normal is life between two disasters. I can give you proof. In the last 10 years, standard state, we have got cyclones almost every year. When you go and ask probably your father, they'll say, hey, you know what? Dhanishkodi faced a major cyclone. Bus, that's all. But we have faced what? Thane, Wakki, Gaja, Mandos, Mikjam, Pani. What kind of cyclones and intensity that we have faced? The Chennai floods of 2015, 2021, 2021 floods, 2023 floods, 23 floods of Tirunelveli, Thoothukudi. Last year floods due to Fenjal cyclone in Tiruvannamalai, Viluppuram, Pondicherry and Krishnagiri. Have you ever thought that Krishnagiri will face a cyclone and a flood? I have never thought that. The kind of landslides that happened in Wayanad, 400 plus people we lost. The kind of forest fire that shook California, Mel Gibson lost his house. So climate change is not only threatening it's threatening more the marginalized communities, but it is also threatening the privileged communities too. We have to understand this. It is not somebody else's problem. It is the humanity's problem, is what I would like to stress upon now. And also, I would like to add what is the Western world doing towards this? The Western world is responsible for what we are facing today. The Western world has used 60% of the carbon space. The Americans, the Europeans, and the Japanese have used 60% of the carbon space. But they are expecting the developing countries like us, who are historically not emitters. For example, the floods in Pakistan that happened about 3 years back completely wiped out the Sindh province. 2/3 of Pakistan's agricultural lands got destroyed because of that floods. It lost about 14 lakh crores of Indian rupees value. 14 lakh crores. It lost. But Pakistan is not even responsible for even 1% of carbon emission that has happened in the world till now. Historical emitters have shunned their responsibilities, and they expect the developing countries has to undergo the consequences by foregoing our development rights, especially in the Southeast Asian region, South Asian region, and Asian region. We have about 1/4 of the humanity lives here in the regions that I mentioned, South Asia and other places. And we have not contributed anything. Today, India is contributing. Today, India is the 3rd largest emitter in the global context. I don't deny that. But historically, we are not the emitters in chief. But we have been asked to curtail our development goals, to understand or to mitigate climate change. Himalayas, which feeds people, about 60 crore people in our country, is facing a huge destruction or huge loss of glaciers, on which the people of UP, Bihar, Bengal, Delhi, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Odisha thrive upon, will have to face drought-like condition in 2050. It is like this. For small island nations like Vanuatu or Tuvalu, Mauritius, Seychelles, it is a question of existence now. It's a question of mere existence now. So Jakarta, which is the capital of Indonesia, is being shifting to a place called Nusantara, because Jakarta is facing land subsidence because of the sea level rise. Because of sea level rise, for the people who live in the resorts, it's a question of losing their privilege. But people of marginalized communities, the fisher folks, is a loss of livelihood. And the kind of knowledge our fisher community had developed in the last thousands of years is getting lost, because the character of the oceans are becoming different. The oceans are getting more warmer. and the oceans are getting more acidic. Because of that, the cyclones are getting intensified and becoming more unpredictable. Friends, this is not just a passing remark. Environmentalism or sustainability are just passing mark, but today it's a question of existence. There's the question of environment versus development is no more there. Now the question in front of us is whether are we going to survive or becoming extinct? Are we going to survive or become extinct? According to Lancet report, compared to the 1981 to 2010, in 2021, because of the temperature increase, the maize growing days shortened by 9.3 days. For rice, it is 1.7 and 6 days for wheat. And heat wave days were associated with 98 million more people, which means they are risk to food security compared to 2020. Is this not a greatest challenge? The latest projections also say that in South Asia, the agriculture yield will decline by 30% by 2050 if we don't start mitigating climate change. For the people who are vulnerable communities or vulnerable nations, the question actually is not about maintaining economic growth, but about survival itself. When basic food security becomes uncertain, all other development goals become unattainable. So this is a very, very serious challenge, my dear friends. And it's also the, climate change is also impacting on economic front. We lost about 1 lakh crores in the Chennai floods of 2015. Kerala lost about 80,000 crores in the landslides in 2018 and presently in Wayanad. Which is the world's biggest, greatest, largest economic disaster? It is the disaster that caused by Katrina typhoon in US. Till now, they are not able to understand or estimate the kind of devastation and the economic loss that Katrina cyclone caused in the United States and other North American countries. So climate change is not only threatening our environment, not only threatening our landscapes, but it is threatening our livelihood, which means it is threatening our economic growth. So whatever the development aspirations that we have been doing in the last few decades, especially in India and South Asia, it will completely question the development aspirations of this region. And we have got studies that say unmitigated climate change could reduce India's GDP by 13.4% by 2050. Imagine our GDP will go down by 13.4% if we don't mitigate climate change in the next couple of decades. Don't think 2050 is 25. If it is 25 years away, we would be feeling the impact now, yesterday, not in 2050, January 1st, early morning, 9 o'clock. And these economic losses, come at a time when countries like us are striving to lift millions out of poverty. So climate change has created this cruel dilemma: how to pursue development while simultaneously addressing a crisis that threatens to erode development gains. So the very concept of common but differentiating responsibilities that was enshrined in different agreements in the since 2015 in Paris was a fantastic arrangement. So common but differentiating responsibility, CBDR, what is that? So CBDR is nothing but climate change is common for all the 200 odd countries in this world. But there are differentiating responsibilities. What are the differentiating responsibilities? The global economics or the developed countries should give $100 billion every year since 2015 every year to the developed countries so that they can pursue their development agenda without contributing to climate change, is what the idea was. For the last 10 years, not even in 1 year, not even in a single year, the developed countries have yielded to this $100 billion every year. The actual amount that is required is trillions of dollars. But at least these developed countries should have been contributing $100 billion every year, which has not even happened 1 year in the last 10 years or so. It's a very, very, unfortunate thing. And with Trump coming into picture, moving out of IPCC and WHO, we are really in a situation in which one of the world's largest emitter, it's the world number 2 emitter, America, and historical number 1 emitter, America, has moved out of its responsibility, which means it's more responsible for the developing countries like India, China, and Brazil, and more responsibility in terms of mitigating climate change and spending money on adaptation. See, adaptation is not simple, because when we talk about the statistics, the GDPs and other things, when the cyclones are of intensity strikes the coast of India, it is the poor living in vulnerable housings who will lose everything, not only their house but their livelihood. When the heat waves strike different parts of India or countries, it is the economic activity that comes down drastically. When the floods strike us, I will say that I remember a visual in North Chennai in 2023 floods, when an aged woman about 65-70 years old, she has to stand above a gas cylinder for 8 hours. Stand above a gas cylinder for 8 hours to escape the flood fury that happened in Chennai. Our guys from we do a lot of walks, voice of the people. So last year when the heat wave struck Chennai, in some places it crossed 50 degrees Celsius in Pakistan, in central India and other places. So for the privileged people, it's a little discomfort. Probably we may change our air conditions to 1.5 ton to 2 ton maybe, or insulate more. That's a slight discomfort. But people who live in houses, tents, and in the platforms, it's choosing between working in deadly heat or losing vital income. When the government said that you should not go out and work from 10:30 or 11 in the morning till 3:30, 4 in the evening till the heat waves comes down, it's a loss of livelihood, which means it brings down our overall GDP growth. It brings down our economy. It brings down our dependence on livelihood, and marginalized communities are becoming more poorer. We don't understand this. So which means they'll have to work in the nights without sleeping to compensate for the loss of livelihood in the daytime. And in the evenings and in the morning time, they'll not be able to sleep because it's very hot. So they are stuck between the deep sea and the devil. So when our guys in Pulaga went for a voice of the people, taking interviews with the people who sell fruits in T Nagar in central Chennai, this interesting lady, it's not interesting, it's a very revealing thing that we understood. A lady has been selling fruits in the small payment in Panagal Park for the last about 20-25 years. She sold fruits. Her husband was not there. She has been selling fruits for the past 20-25 years. With that little income, she was able to feed her children, get one of them married. But she was saying in the last 4 or 5 years' time, she is not making any profit by selling fruits. These guys are surprised. They asked her why the cost of fruits have gone up. She was saying about 15 years back or 20 years back, when she started to sell the fruits, she will come with a 2 bottles of water every day. She will sit there, sell those fruits, make some $50 or $25 or $100 in a day, go back home, feed her children, and give them some decent living. But because of the heat waves that is striking Chennai now, other than the 2 water bottles, she has to drink 1 tender coconut and 1 fruit juice to overcome this heat. which means there is a loss in her income. She has to spend that money to buy that tender coconut and to buy that fruit juice for her to escape the heat waves that are striking our country. And it is also transforming the nature of work for millions across our country. According to the Lancet report in 2021, heat exposure led to the loss of about 470 billion potential labor hours, a 37% increase from the period 1990 to 1999. And 87% of the losses belong to low-income countries. This is a very, very important thing. In India, and also agriculture is taking a huge beating. Because in India, 40% of people depend on agriculture income today, whether you like it or not. That's a matter of fact, which is highly vulnerable to climate impacts. Also, we'll have to look at CABAM, which is called as border tax or carbon tax by the European countries. In the next 3-4 years' time, the Indian exporters, be it textiles, be it steel, be it leather, be it anything, if you don't become carbon neutral, then you will have to pay a tax, or you will not be allowed to import to countries in Europe. See the irony. Europe is one of the largest global historical emitter, and they are teaching us ethics that you should not emit and produce your goods. We are being entrepreneurs here who are present here. This is a very, very serious issue that unless and until you start mitigating climate change, don't bring your organizations as carbon neutral, you will increasingly find it difficult to export your goods to Europe or America, to countries like Japan and Australia. And not only that, your loss in income will be high because you will have to pay a carbon tax. See the irony of this whole thing. When historical polluters and emitters are doing this, countries like India, which is supposed to be a developing country, have to face this double whammy by compromising our development goals and becoming carbon neutral. I'm not saying that we should not become carbon neutral, but what we are saying is, if India's economic growth is to sustain, then we have to be a climate-friendly country, is what we are like to stress. And mitigation is, as far as climate change is concerned, there are 3 key important things. One is mitigation. You will have to bring down our carbon emission, come what may. You will have to bring down. Number 2, even if you make the carbon neutral today, the country becomes carbon neutral today. Even if you become carbon neutral today, our earth warming has already touched 1.5 degrees Celsius, which we humans have never experienced in the last 10,000, 12,000 years. Why I said it uncharted territory is because for the first time in the history of humans, we are facing this temperature rise of 1.5 degrees Celsius. So if this 1.5 degrees Celsius has to be brought down without going up, if 2 degrees Celsius reaches, the world's tipping points, already about 6 tipping points are getting activated. Tipping points, you can assume something like this. You move a huge rock over the top of the hill and assume that is a climate change. And you put some small stumbling blocks so that rock doesn't roll down. That stumbling blocks are tipping points. Imagine if you remove those tipping points, will you be able to judge how the huge boulders and rocks will roll down, which direction it will go, what speed it will go, and what kind of effect that will cause? Will we be able to judge or predict? No. So if the world loses its tipping points, which almost 6 tipping points are at its peak, and we are able to, and then we will be able to become, climate change will become unstoppable. There are feedback loops. There are knock-on effects. Knock-on effects is one change will kick off something else. For example, the melting of Antarctic, the melting of Greenland ice is slowing down our AMOC currents, ocean currents, Atlantic Mediterranean overturning circulation, AMOC, AMOC. The AMOC is like a conveyor belt. From the southern hemisphere, it will draw heat to the northern hemisphere, so that the northern hemisphere is not completely covered with snow, and it will bring down the cool waters of the northern hemisphere to other parts of the world, so the northern hemisphere becomes have temperatures which are livable, and this has been happening for the past hundreds and thousands of years. But now AMOC is slowing down. If AMOC slows down, the southern hemisphere will become a hell a lot of heat, and the northern hemisphere will be covered with snow. London will be covered with snow throughout the year in the next about 50-60 years if AMOC slowing down is not stopped. And states like Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand will become places that will not be able to human habitation because of the decrease in heat. So AMOC is a tipping point. Greenland ice is a tipping point. Indian monsoons are a tipping point. Africa's Amazon forest is a tipping point. Amazon forest, if the oceans and the forests like Amazon have not absorbed the heat in the last 150, 200, 300 years, the earth will not be a place for living even now today. The amount of carbon and heat that we emit is being 90% is being absorbed by oceans and forests. Only because of that, this earth is still a place that we can survive. But the oceans are becoming hot like anything. Marine heat waves are becoming common. Amazon has started to lose its competency to sink carbon and is becoming carbon emitter. So these are feedback loops. If these loops lose their character and start emitting heat or carbon, then climate change becomes unstoppable. It will get into a chaotic condition. So as climate activists, we hope that, because climate change is not an environmental problem, it's an economic problem. It's an economic issue. It's a livelihood issue. It's an existential issue. But is there hope? I have not come here to instill despair. I have come here to instill hope. What science says, by 2050, the world can become carbon neutral. Then the rise in temperature could be stopped at 1.5 degrees Celsius itself. And slowly it will come down over a period of time once the carbon gets dissolved and methane gets dissolved. And we will be able to reach about 1.1 degrees Celsius in the next about 100 odd years. So the Earth's temperature can settle down. By 2050, we will have to become, as a globe, carbon neutral. But are the nationally determined contribution moving individual countries towards this? A big no. No. Trump has come and said, drill baby drill, which means drill more oil, drill more gas, which means more carbon in the atmosphere. More carbon in the atmosphere means more climate change effects. Have you ever thought that, society, Tamil Samuham, Madai Amildam into Sona Tamil Samuham. Amildam into Sona Tamil Samuham. மழையை பார்த்து அச்சப்படுவது பயப்படுவது ஒரு பெரிய முரணான விஷயமாக நாங்கள் பார்க்கிறோம். A society which hailed rains as more than nectar is now feared of facing the rains that whenever there's a October, November, December, people of Chennai start getting jittery. When it is May, June, people across the country globe become jittery because of the heat waves. Last year, during the election campaign, in a meeting that was organized and attended by the Union Home Minister Amit Shah, tens of people died because of heat stroke. Lot of things are happening. I don't want to get into the details of the kind of disaster that the world is and the India is facing. But I would like to add that if you want economic activity to continue and grow, you'll have to take climate change very seriously in your organization and your state, in the country that you reside. So every organization should become a carbon neutral organization. It can be small things, removing plastic bottles, becoming energy efficient, putting up solar panels, setting up zero discharge plants, pressurizing people who work in organization to move towards public transport, and start eating millets instead of this methane emitting chemical led agriculture. Start eating millets, avoiding carbonated drinks, asking your people not to become consumers, consume sensibly. All those things as organization you will have to become if you want to survive in this post climate era. You will have to make your working surroundings more labor friendly, because it's heat waves. You cannot ask them to work in asbestos sheet. You will have to change the structures. So all this requires investments. That's what I'm saying. Climate change is not a mere environmental challenge. It's an economic challenge that the world has to build. The world has to adapt. Even if you stop becoming, even if you become carbon neutral today, the temperature rise is going to bring you intensified storms, intensified heat waves, intensified sea level rise. So you will have to adapt to this new condition. This is normal. Disasters are being normal. You will have to adapt to the disaster. Changing your policies. All your balance sheets should become carbon friendly balance sheets. All the government budgets should become carbon friendly budgets. We are adopting a word called climate governance. We should push the government towards climate governance. It should be climate driven economy, climate driven organization. In everything that you do, everything you see, everything that you plan, climate change should be at the forefront of your planning, budgeting, and every other thing. So in the 21st century, the only way, sorry,
Yeah, photo example.
in the 21st century, the only way that the humanity could become a mitigated state or mitigated country, adaptation, and a resilient state, resilient organization, only if you put climate change as the first important thing in whatever you do. So, friends, I would like to close my talk with a sense of hope. I'm sure you all will know about Wangari Maathai. Wangari Maathai is the first African woman to get the Nobel Peace Prize. So till she got Nobel Peace Prize, the world did not know about Wangari Maathai. So after she got the Peace Prize, she came out, and the reporters, global media was waiting there. So everybody went and asked, "Who are you?" So if I were there, I would have told, "I'm Sundarrajan, I'm from Pune, I did my engineering in Annam University, blah, blah, blah," I would have told. But she was Wangari Maathai, right? So she said a small story. There's a huge forest fire. And the forest fire, in the forest, there were animals like elephants, tigers, lions, bears, boars, many other species was part of the jungle, forest. None of those species did anything. One small hummingbird flew to a nearby water body, took a drop of water in a small beak, came and poured it over the fire. Not once. When took a drop of water, poured it. When took a drop of water, poured it. It was just keep on doing for hours together. After some time, a rabbit, which will see this thing, will call this hummingbird and ask the bird, "Are you mad? If this elephant wants, it can take a lot of water in its trunk and blow the fire like anything. If the tiger needs, It can bring a lot of water, pour it over the fire and extinguish it. But every species is simply whiling their time. You are on Lilliputian. You are on small creature. What can you do? Asked the rabbit to the hummingbird. The hummingbird said, I will keep doing this to the best of my ability till the time I'm able to do it, and till the and whatever energy that I have got, I'll keep doing it, said the hummingbird. This story reached all other species, and they all came together and put out the forest fire. Wangari Maatai said, I would like to be the hummingbird of this world. Wangari Maatai said, friends, it's high time that we all become hummingbirds of this world. And climate action is not a weekend action, it's an everyday action, every minute action, and every second action. And we will have to remember and keep by hearting that this earth is not an asset that we have inherited from our forefathers. It's a liability that we need to repay to the generation next with interest, is what we should keep in mind. And I would like to conclude by saying thank you all. Thank you so much. Thank you for giving this opportunity, Gopi, Suresh, and many others who have been in touch with Arivraja, and many others who have been in touch with me, and spending your time on a Sunday morning, compromising your regular break. I'm very happy that I'm also proud that I'm able to speak to my fellow Annamalayans. And thanks for this opportunity, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Sundar. Thank you, Sundar. Many thanks for your excellent session. We'll keep the floor open for question and answers now. Participants, you may please unmute and ask your questions one by one.
Hi, I am Sanjay Gangopadhyay. Just very nicely told Mr. Sundarrajan. Thanks for the entire whatever you have delivered. Just a small question that we talk about all this, but under the circumstances, you see two things immediately which we could have done. We still persist on manufacturing plastics and consequently plastic bottles, whereas this is absolutely contrary to our requirement, in fact. But every day you will find some petrochemical complex, something is coming out, and plastics are being manufactured. And the second one is about mangrove vegetation. In Sundarban areas, in Mumbai areas, mangrove forests are totally being destroyed and constructions are being made. We feel ourselves proud that such links have been built. So how these things go with our thinking? Aren't those people who are at the helm of affairs aware of these things? Should they be taught all these things and then we should proceed? Can you throw some light on this, please?
Yeah. See, as far as plastics is concerned, it's a major menace. It's very unfortunate that still we are continuing to use plastics. And as a data, I would like to say, every week, every one of us consume a credit card size, a credit card weight of microplastics every week, all of us, either through food or through air or through water, by anything. Long back, we used to see advertisements which used to say, do you have carbon in your paste? Today, we'll have to ask, or one more advertisement I remember, salt in your paste. Today, there is no salt that is produced without microplastics, because plastics have entered our oceans like hell, and it has disintegrated into microplastics, and it enters the food using the salt. Different species like the fish, many other things. So plastics are a big menace. But unfortunately, there are two ways that you can control this menace. One, you bring a legislation to ban plastics, which we already have. Two, you move away from using plastics as individuals in any form. I think both should happen simultaneously. Implementing the plastic ban rule to start with at least the single-use plastic, then move on to other forms of plastics slowly. And secondly, as consumers, we have our responsibility of not using plastics in our day-to-day life. So for example, I use only ink pens. I don't use ball pens. Because ball pens, either you throw the pen or you have to change the refill quite often. But in an ink pen, you can refill the ink. When you and I were in college, I remember fighting with my sister to get a hero pen with an arrow. But today, do our children do that? No. They just take any ball pen, write it, throw it. Assuming in Tamil Nadu alone, there are 2 crore students who do schools and colleges put together, 2 crore. Imagine that each of the students throws 1 ball pen every month. There are people whom I see, using 3 ball pens in a month. I'm not talking about them. At least 1 ball pen a month, which means 20 crore ball pens in 10 months' time will reach the landfills, which are not biodegradable. This is just a small example. Plastic bottles, plastic covers, everywhere there is plastic. Actually, it is not I think it is not it is more of a plastic era than an anthropogenic era. I mean, it was created by humans. It's a plastic era. So as conscious citizens of this earth, first step is we should force our government to take action on the manufacturers. Number 2, we as individual consumers, we should desist from using plastics is the way forward that I think. And on the, the government's destroying mangrove systems and things like that. See, I'll tell you the problem. The problem is not 90% of the people are good people in this earth or in this country or in this state, whatever it is. The problem is not the 10% of people doing bad things. The actual problem is 90% of the people keeping quiet. That is the foremost problem. When this 90% of people start questioning the decisions of the government or the corporations, they will start taking a step back. I can tell you, vouch. We fought against the hydrocarbon extraction in the Delta districts because Delta is what our food bowl is there, rice bowl is there. And 10 years from 2010, 2011, 2012 to 2019, the kind of, I myself would have spoken in some 100 places. There is Mr. Jayaraman, who is a professor who leads this anti-methane federation. He would have spoken in some thousands and thousands of meetings. But what is the victory point? In 2019, the then government passed a protected area agri-economic zone for the Delta districts, which means no new hydrocarbon extraction, no destructive projects, no extractive projects in Delta region. So when people are mobilized for this, definitely the governments and the large corporations will answer. So we will have to voice against this, the only way for us.
NSM sir, you can unmute and ask your question, sir. Or Vikram, Stalin sir.
Hi, Sundarrajan sir. This is Vikram. It was a good session. It was very much enlightening. My question is with respect to coronavirus. Is it still in existence? Are deaths happening because of that, or it has completely gone?
Okay. See, we'll have to. I'll go to some basics here. There is a lot of difference between variola virus, which caused smallpox, and polio virus, which caused polymyelitis. Both are viruses. So both these viruses, the variola virus and the polymyelitis, polio virus, are here. So we are able to bring out vaccines and improve hygiene, thereby eradicating or kind of overcoming these 2 diseases. But diseases like COVID or viruses like SARS-CoV-19 are not here, whereas variola and polio are here. But viruses like SARS-CoV-19 or MERS or yellow monkey fever or Ebola or Nipah are not here. They are in wildlife. They are called zoonotic viruses. Only when you get into the wildlife area, destroy their habitats. When we get stressed, we get BP heart attack, right? When wildlife gets stressed, if the virus mutates and transmits to another life or to humans by saliva or by excreta. Have you ever heard a mutated variola virus? You would not have, because they are just here. But for viruses like COVID, which cause COVID, COVID is a disease which cause COVID, or mutation is the basic necessity for their living. When you are pushed to the corner, you will mutate or take another form and become more virulent or become less virulent. Likewise, COVID COVID virus, COVID disease or SARS-CoV-19 virus will be here. It is now controlled using vaccines and improved reduction techniques. You cannot eradicate SARS-CoV-19 virus. So the only way to stop emergence of new zoonotic viruses is to protect the forest, which are the dwelling places of the wildlife, which are host to viruses like this. So that's the only way out.
So biodiversity should not be disturbed at any cost.
Exactly.
Okay. Thanks a lot, sir.
Stalin, sir.
Yeah. Mr. Sundarrajan, my question may be too fundamental in nature. Say, looks like over a period, the entire humanity has moved to rapid industrialization, even for day-to-day living. Whichever goods you consider, it's all from some kind of industry. So if we have to protect the environment, for which you gave really a very scary picture or a realistic picture. So what do we really do? Do we deindustrialize or do we change our lifestyle? And I don't know. I have really no clue. Can you throw some light on that? While we all fully agree with the danger which is ahead of us and also the future generations, what should we do? Something drastic in nature. See, just stopping use of plastic, it may be too minuscule thing in terms of overall action plan. That's what I tend to believe.
Yeah. So our primary thing is our production system should completely get overhauled. The how we produce goods, how we extract materials, minerals, and how we consume. I mean, we are becoming a consume-hungry society. So, it is like, see, we were producing goods 2000 years back also. Even, we have studied history. We are producing, some small level of iron, some small level of copper. When we have our copper ages are at least some 3000, 4000 years back. Iron age is about 5000 years back. We have been doing that, but we did not extract as we are doing post-industrial revolution. So industrial revolution is the issue. How we produce our things for our own consumption here and there, few things. Energy intensive processes. The way we produce our energy, today's global economic trade, 55% of it's only for energy. Only energy. So I think we'll have to revisit all our production systems, and the world should move towards more socialistic ideals from a capitalistic ideals. Naomi Klein, a famous author, she said, this capitalistic world will not be able to handle climate change. And I would also like to recollect what the former New Zealand Prime Minister said. She said, climate change is a man-made issue. It needs a feministic solution. So I think, we should move away from consuming societies. We should move away from production societies. We should move away from, globalization. We should move away from extractive industries. You extract everything. We are extracting everything. Be it sand, be it limestone, be it lithium, be it copper, be it nickel, be it whatever it is. So our entire economy is extractive economy. So I think we have completely dismantled this. Start production systems which are more sustainable, which are less energy intensive. Get into a mode where there is decentralized production. You don't have to produce drumstick in Vattanchitram and take it to Bangalore. Then imagine the kind of carbon footprint that will have. So food should be produced, distributed, and consumed locally. Energy should be produced locally. And you should live in a very sustainable fashion where we don't become carbon emitters. At least we are carbon neutral people. I mean, we can talk in detail for hours together for each of the systems. I'm giving you an overall general picture.
But it's not this so-called rapid industrialization or whatever is our current lifestyle also linked to the population growth, rather the rapid population growth compared to what it was maybe some centuries before?
I agree. Population is an issue. I don't deny that fact. But 1% of the richer are becoming more richer. That is the issue. So you cannot put the entire onus on the population and make these large corporations escape their responsibility. I agree, population is an issue, but the larger issue is disparity. Disparity and inequality is the larger issue.
Mr. Sundarrajan Dhavamani here.
Yeah.
Just now I listened to the question of Mr. Stalin, which in fact I was also thinking about the same thing. See, let us see the history based on few thousands of years, whatever you have told. If at all we have affected the ecosystem, means that actually we have affected the ecosystem other than the human beings. Means we started infringing their area, we started destroying their life, or we are the cause for their changes. But we have been growing. That is the question which Mr. Stalin has asked some time back, telling that actually we are growing, like our population is going on increasing. This is on one part. Suppose our population has not been increasing also. Suppose the population has been constant for the past 40, 50 years also. Still, industrialization would have definitely brought us this destruction. Why? Because our habits are changing. Like we are moving to certain things which are more convenient for us rather than what we have been using earlier. For example, earlier we were using actually cloth bags, then we moved to paper, then we moved to plastic. Now, because these things were becoming more and more convenient for us, we have been using. So what will be the case? Always we will be thriving to enjoy the convenience. A day will come, it will be something like this. You told the people who will adjust the AC little bit and then be comfortable. On the other side, people who are on the roads will become more capable of sustaining heat. So in that way, all those who have been protecting themselves without getting exposed to these atmospheric changes will get destroyed, and the other community will become more and more stronger, fit for survival. Thereby, the society wriggles itself, philosophically speaking, and the human race will survive till the human race itself gets destroyed. This is an imagination which I wanted to project here. Is it not possible?
No, I will not agree with your second point. See, there is a certain heat and humidity till only when any human body will be able to adjust. there's something called as wet bulb temperature. The wet bulb temperature is being calculated by the temperature of that place that you live and the humidity of that place. That is why that is called as, when you see Google for temperature, the temperature they'll say about 38 degrees Celsius, but feels like will be 46, 47. What does it feels like? That's a wet bulb temperature. But
Yeah.
including humidity. But there's a calculation formula for wet bulb temperature. So the wet bulb temperature becomes 35. When it becomes 32, it is very, very unsafe for human living. But when it becomes 35, wet bulb temperature 35, when you go and stand beneath a tree, you will die within 6 hours. Because the body will lose its capacity to cool itself. There will be no sweating. Because the atmosphere will be full of moisture, it will not pull out the sweating from your body. You will die in 6 hours. So thinking that the vulnerable communities will get adjusted to the heat is not scientifically possible. But the other thing, as you said, as you rightly said, in the process of development that we have brought into our humanity for our convenience, not for our living, for our convenience, comfort, we are destroying the other life forms is 100% correct. I would like to say one more thing. See, as a humanity, as humans, it's our right to decide that we'll become extinct. That is our right. And அது கொல்லிக்கட்டை எடுத்து தலையில நாங்க சுரிஞ்சுக்குவோம்னு சொன்னோம்னா no cat or dog or no lion or deer will come and stop you. But you don't have any right to, because of your activities, you don't have any right to make the other species to become extinct. Because of the anthropogenic activity today, every passing day we lose species. I think every month or every year we lose some 250 species is becoming extinct every passing year. 250. 250 means not 100 horses and 50 animals. No. Some unique species are becoming extinct, which means you will not be able to find them hereafter.
So still we are surviving, no? So
No,
the
no,
thing
that's,
is,
we are surviving. One thing, we are not living, we are surviving, one. But what is happening to those species today, it will happen to you tomorrow.
see, probably let us see it in an open way. Actually, like probably we are destined or we have been created to live only up to this particular period of these many thousands of years. Probably, probably we may get mutated to another. That's what I was telling. You have taken it as though the human himself will be in a position to withstand. It's not like that. What I meant to say is the human will mutate himself to the level of withstanding the higher temperature.
No, my point is, we have
That's what will happen. There is no other go.
No, we have got every choice to become whatever we want as human race. But you have no choice to make any other species become extinct because of you.
That's right. That's right. But the thing is, these are uncontrollable. Only thing is, you can only delay. You can only delay. See what all the hue and cry made by all these countries, so-called developed countries, they are all one by one washing their hands and going away. Now we are also going to do the same thing. Why? Because why we have to suffer? That's what is the attitude which is going to come. So final thing will be like, we all can try, you all can work for delaying it, not stopping it and are totally repositioning, rechanging this particular thing. Because this is how the cycle has to roll on. No, you cannot stop it.
No. History is, I mean, as George Santayana will always say, if you forget to learn from history, it is bound to repeat. That's what George Santayana says. Only thing, history has said, never ever a species was responsible for mass extinction except for now. Never ever. The last 5 mass extinctions, it happened not because of one species. Because of volcanic eruption, some meteoroid or asteroid strike, it got wiped out. And even mass extinction happened over a period of 1,000 years. And today, we are seeing mass extinction in 50 years. Just 50 years. So I think there's a lot of difference between we saying, hey, you know what, we will destroy the world, we will let go of the humans go, and let some other new forms of species come back and rule over this earth. maybe about millions of years after, till this Earth's gravitational force becomes slower, so the sun's gravity can attract the Earth towards it. I mean, all those might sound scientifically okay, but the point is, as a human race, we have no right to destroy other species, is what I'm saying. So you have no right to destroy. Do you have any right to destroy, to make any other species as extinct? No. You can kill another human. That is between two human. I mean, I'm not saying that you can kill, but I'm saying that is your choice. But you have got no right to become another species to become extinct. So I think I agree to the point that scientifically this will lead to the point that you are saying.
Sundarrajan sir, if we don't destroy anything, I'm not telling about completely making it. See, there's a difference between totally becoming extinct and then controlling it actually. Correct? No, that's what you're telling. So now, see, suppose the area in which you are going to build the house, there would have been thousands of ants in that particular place, some earthworms in that particular place. Without destroying them, are you going to build the house? And you have built one house now today for you. Tomorrow for your children, actually, you need to build another 4 houses. Some more thousands of ants are going to get destroyed. You just see in that way. If you see in that way, these are ought to happen. So only way is actually maintaining the population. Even if you maintain the population once it becomes richer, one person will have more than one house. To have one in summer, another one in winter in some other place. You just see how this can be controlled. I really couldn't understand actually how this can be controlled. Maybe you can try to maintain it in the same place, in the same level. Is it possible? How it can be? Because all those who are, see, energy sector is the first one. See, I'm from nuclear industry. I retired as a senior project manager of a nuclear setup. See, we have been administering almost 20 years everywhere, telling that actually this energy sector is the first one which is causing this particular disturbance and global warming, this and everything, for which nuclear is the only solution. Nothing is happening. Rather, one small Fukushima or some other Tokaimura, small incidences make tens of nuclear plants to get closed. What is going to be the solution now for this?
I will beg to disagree on you saying that nuclear energy is the way forward for humanity.
No, I'm not told way forward to humanity. Now the point is carbon emission matter.
Yeah, obviously. See, if you take the entire life cycle of nuclear plant, the carbon emission is as good as a maybe little less than a thermal power plant, but it is no way compared to a solar or a wind plant. If you take the entire fuel cycle, starting from mining, enrichment, production, making your plants more robust, more stable, using more steel, more concrete, because you have to build safe reactors, and handling the spent fuel for the next thousands of years till the half-life of different nuclear isotopes becomes half-life of these isotopes becomes reduced by thereby bringing down the radiation. So if you take this entire fuel cycle carbon emission, maybe nuclear energy will be little less than a thermal power plant, but definitely much higher than a solar, wind, or battery energy storage systems. So, I mean,
yeah, but solar, wind are all not perennial anyway. That's okay. We have to go for a mix. Always, we also administer. We also say that actually we have to go for a mix. There is no doubt. But in this situation, if everything is connected to your energy, how are we going to stop this global warming? Please tell me that point directly. What is your solution for that?
So that is where
Do
I'm
you have
saying
a solution?
we have to move away from production systems.
How can we move away?
You cannot produce for Switzerland.
What do you mean by, sir, please tell me, what do you mean by move away, sir?
Why should you produce for Switzerland?
Pardon?
Why should you produce for Switzerland?
No, if you don't produce, somebody else is going to produce. Sir, your issue is global. Please try to please tell your issue is global. Once your issue is global, whether I produce or some X produces in some other country, how does it matter, sir?
You are talking about competition between economies. Okay.
I'm not telling economics. No. See, if it is global warming, whether I produce or Mr. Sundarrajan produces in USA, global warming is going to happen or not.
No, you are not getting the point. why do we produce in Tirupur for the entire world? Let Switzerland produce for what Switzerland requires. Let Norway produce for what Norway requires. Let America produce for what they require. Within America, let Texas produce what they want. Within
Then
Texas,
how can we feed our people?
Huh?
Then how can we feed our people?
No, see, you are mixing two topics. So our production system should become different. I meant was the present capitalistic production system should change. That is a different one. How do we feed our people is a different question. It's a different question
But
completely. So we need to have
Are they not interconnected?
no. What we have
A
to
set of thousands of people are living because they are producing something and exporting to Switzerland. Now, if you say why we have to produce for Switzerland, then what will be their livelihood?
no, the point that I'm trying to make here is for producing Switzerland, we spend a lot of energy. Okay, we emit a lot of carbon, and these goods are transported by ships and aeroplanes, which emit carbon, and they use lot and millions of plastics for packaging to go across oceans. So all these structures are carbon intensive structures. All these structures are carbon intensive structures. So I'll give an example.
You mean to say Switzerland is buying this thing at a higher cost than buying it from some other place?
No. See, you're trying to mix both questions. I'll explain you. India, in India, what Kumarappa said. India does not require mass production. India requires production by masses. There's a lot of difference between these two statements. India does not require mass production. India requires production by masses. Khadi Village Industries Corporation of Madurai district's turnover is just 2.5 crores, but they impact 25,000 families. There is a huge solar facility in Pillayarpalayam in Kanjipuram district. Huge solar facility.
My dear sir, please wait. Solar system, I went to
No, you're not getting my
expert
point.
appraisal committee
Wait.
of MOF Delhi, where when I told about the solar system, there was a huge objection by telling that, you know, Mr. Damani, there is a heat wave island which is affecting the directions of the birds. We will not allow you to go for 2 megawatt solar system in your place of grassland ecosystem in your project. Please rethink this particular solution.
No, you are not allowing me to complete. What I was saying is 2.5 crore turnover in a year is contributing to 25,000 families by Khadi Village Industries in Madurai district. Pillayarpalayam, one of the world's largest solar manufacturing facility, employs just 100 people. So you have to understand the difference. The difference is, as Kumarappa said, India requires production by masses. We will have to involve our mass for production. For ourselves, for the consumption of neighboring towns, for the production of food, whatever it may be. So if the global system breaks down from the capitalistic structure and move towards sustainable structures, I think there is hope. Whether I produce for Switzerland or Bangladesh produces for Switzerland is a competition among WTO, competition among capitalistic world. I'm not getting into that at all. I'm talking about dismantle these capitalistic systems.
Is it possible? Is it in anybody's hands?
It's your choice. It's a TINA factor. Whether you want to change and survive or you want to follow and get extinct is a human's choice.
Don't you feel it is hypothetical?
Maybe that science will.
Then what is the use of telling something which is simply hypothetical, which is not actually in our influence, sir, actually?
No, how can you say that is not under influence?
Yeah, see, today Trump has already washed off his hands and he is going out actually. What are we going to do?
No, Trump is not an eternal person, right?
That is right. But the next 4 or 5 years, he's only going to dictate.
400 years. He's not going to stay for 400 years. Maybe he'll stay for 4 years' time. That's all. So things.
This is a starting point, sir.
No.
We will have to think something totally different.
This was said when Trump became president in the earlier term, that it's a starting point of moving away from IPCC. But Biden came back, he joined back, he gave a lot of money for non-fossil fuel industry. He gave a lot of money for to set up solar and wind systems. So, Trump becoming president for 4-year term doesn't mean that the larger, yes, it's a setback. I don't deny it. It's a setback of 4 years. I don't deny that at all. But it is not the end of road for the world. And how can we say that it is beyond our conception? The laws of this country and laws of any country are made by the people. And if the people want a change, the people think that climate crisis is existential crisis, they will come out in thousands and thousands. Have you ever thought 15? When I was in Annamalai University in 91, 95, when they said, they have found oil and gas in Delta. So Chidambaram, Mailadurai, Tiruvallur, all will become Dubai. I remember that statement. But I never thought that I will go to the streets of the same Delta districts, fight against the methane hydrocarbon extraction, and bring a agriculture protected economic act that will not allow hydrocarbon extraction in the Delta district. I have never thought, but it has happened. So I think it's the will of the people that the governments will heed to. The large multinational corporations will listen. See, two cyclones will teach you lessons over millions of hours of learning.
Mr. Sundarrajan, just some time back only you told, for none of their mistake, Pakistan has suffered.
Yeah.
So if you make India like this, what is the guarantee that we will not suffer because of the mistake of somebody else?
No, I'm not denying any. See, I am fool in நண்பர்கள்.
That is what I am telling. See, உங்களுக்கு மீதி பேர் மேல என்ன உரிமை இருக்கு அதை சொல்றதுக்கு? அவன் வந்து நம்ம கண்ட்ரியை அழிக்கணும்னோ அழிக்கலன்னோ something there because it is their survival.
No, you are not getting my point. Then see what? Then you see. Am I voting to elect the Chief Minister and Prime Minister of India, or am I voting to select the President of USA? I am voting to select the Prime Minister of India and the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. I can only talk about my country and my state.
Yeah, but
what role India can play? No, wait.
But the effect can be. No, but the effect can be from some other.
What role Tamil Nadu and India can play? What we can play is the Tamil Nadu government should take an initiative of asking all the state governments in India, put a pressure on government of India, Prime Minister Modi, asking him that boss, before you go to any COP summit, you convene a conference of chief ministers. You discuss with us because you can go there and announce anything. But it is the states which has to implement it.
For the present climate change and effect, whatever Chennai has suffered, can you say that actually the activities of our Chennai or our India only is responsible?
No, you're not getting the point. I never said the floods of Chennai are because of the people who acted in Chennai. We have also contributed. The globe has also contributed. So there is a saying.
How much is our contribution vis-a-vis the global contribution? Global contribution is 99%. Our contribution is less than 1%, sir.
No. Think globally and act locally. That's all.
These are all only
Think
slogans,
globally.
sir, actually. No. This is something hypothetical.
See, if you want to call it slogan,
anyway, we will discuss it.
If you want to call it a slogan, yeah.
Hello.
Can I?
I want to have one question. You are talking about Delta district and I think I brought up in Delta district and I am doing agriculture in Delta district. But indiscriminate harvesting of sand, they are in the name of all the rivers become a forest. You come and see because it's full of vegetation because they have taken the sand out to the soil level. Okay, what is going to do? Because still it is going on. Because either it is a AABN or DMK government, the mafia is going on, and not only this one. You know about the other minerals being exported. Even sand is being sent to Kerala. all this government, they know very well, they are making money out of it, crores and crores. So this is also depletion of delta, because water is not going inside, because of there is no sand, all going directly to the sea. Every year we are seeing this one, but no government is taking action. What action you have taken on that one?
Yeah. So, earlier the minor minerals, which is basically the sand, jelly, stones, were all kept out of EAA process, which means you don't have to get an environmental clearance. You just go there, start digging. But now we have put a restriction that EAA process will be applicable to even minor minerals. I don't deny the fact that sand mining is a major issue in our state. Not only in our state, be it Andhra, be it Gujarat, be it Uttar Pradesh, everywhere there is.
Not in Kerala. Not in Kerala. First, you should understand
In Kerala,
how Kerala is able to preserve. Why Tamil Nadu is not able to?
No, Mr. Sundarrajan, no, wait. I have traveled across different states. Kerala also there is sand mining. There is the blasting of rocks. The numbers may be less than Tamil Nadu. I don't deny that, but there is, sand mining. There is blasting of fields. That is why you saw Wayanad, all those disasters that happened. I am not saying that there is zero. There is, but the numbers may be less. The issue here is when we are able to do many things, our scientific community has not thought about or come together to find a sand-free or a concrete-free construction technique. There is a gypsum-based concrete construction technique which IIT has demonstrated some time back, but it has not caught the attention of any of us, including the lawmakers, the governments. So we'll have to move away from resources-intense construction technologies. So that is the solution that we'll have to. I'm not denying the fact that corporations are responsible, governments are responsible, the Maral mafia, the sand mafia is responsible. You and I can name them. We have fought against them. Some of our close people have been jailed. Some of the people whom we have worked with have been killed. The Tahsildars have been killed. The VAOs have been killed. I am not denying any of those things. We'll have to fight against this mafia. So being a Delta, being lived in Delta, come forward. It's not only our job, it's all of us a job. So we will fight against them. We are with you.
Correct. The thing is, police is with them. Even if you are doing some small thing, immediately police will arrest you.
No.
And people don't want. That is the main problem. Even yesterday, I experienced the same thing. It's a small thing regarding that sand mafia we have done. Immediately, the mafia now.
No, I understand all your points. What I am trying to say is, overall, across different struggles in Tamil Nadu, there may be around 34 FIRs on me. At least as far as I know, some 18 have been withdrawn, some 12 have been, charge sheeted. And the cases are.
Then who will come? Yeah.
Pardon me?
See, who will come to fight? Because if
who will come to fight
before going, if you are announcing that one, the police are coming taking away.
No. See, who will come to fight is not a answer to the problem. Some aliens or some Devadura or some God will not come and save us. It is us who has to save us. So, it is not that, some person from the Venus will come and fight for us. No, that is not going to happen. We will have to fight for us. We will have to fight our battles.
See, fighting also, if somebody has to come, if 5 people going and giving one petition to them, immediately we are Myanmar, and they will see that they will go inside the jail. They have done like that. We have gone inside. That's why I'm telling.
Yeah. So okay, how many times they will put us in jail?
How many times means it depends on my patience. What are you going to? Everybody says they will laugh at us.
The point is, if 4 or 5 of you go, they will target you. 400 or 500 will go.
400, 500 go first, giving only petition. 400, 500 cannot go and give petition. 500, 400 give petition. If somebody is doing X and Y, immediately we are marked.
No,
See, this is the way how we can change the delta.
You are not getting my point. If we are able to mobilize people by our campaign, you go and talk to them, organize meetings, bring them together, be with them, learn with them, make them to agitate. Nobody can stop you. Thousands and thousands of people are coming to the streets every day in different parts of the world to protect their natural resources, to protect their livelihoods. Only if you go in 1 number, 2 number, 5 number, you will be targeted. When you go in hundreds and thousands and lakhs, how many people they can target? 10 people, 15 people? About that? Even in one of the most massacres of our times, the Thoothukudi massacre, they shot at 15 people, but there are hundreds and thousands of people who were on the streets who wanted to protect their livelihoods. So it is the question of numbers that you reach out and bring out and make them to fight for our livelihood and natural resources is the key thing. If there are no more questions, probably.
Yeah, sir.
Yeah.
Can I? Can I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Ravichandran. I'm farmer from Tiruvallur district. Agriculture. I have been listening to the interesting conversation and very good presentation by Sundarrajan. So agriculture, being a farmer, I would like to talk in the perspective of a farmer. So agriculture is impacted by farming, and agriculture also impacts, agriculture impacts climate change, and climate change impacts agriculture. We cannot deny that fact. So climate change is a global problem. So there is no point in having this blame game, whether it is Switzerland or US. So if US produces uses more fossil fuel, it is not going to affect US alone. It is going to affect everyone else. So it has to be we have to look at the global perspective. At the same time, we have to take care of our economy. So that being said, we have to. We were talking about agriculture, about organic farming, something. So we have to feed the population. The population is more than 1.45 billion, but we were unable to feed even 35 crore population in the year way back in 1967, before the Great Revolution era. No doubt, we have been using indiscriminately this, some of the nitrogenous fertilizers, chemical fertilizers. Nitrogen, if you use urea, it is 300 times more lethal than carbon dioxide, CO2. And similarly, rice grown in flooded condition emits a lot of this methane gas. We have to address these problems through technology. Technologies are available. In my farm, I have been cultivating. You can even see, I'm growing rice using drip irrigation. So I have been successfully doing it, and without emitting any CH4. Actually, BBC also, they interviewed me. So we can, these are the adaptation methods, and we can mitigate some of. See, it doesn't mean that one has to go for this, low yielding varieties and long duration variety and photosensitive varieties. I really have great appreciation for our ancestral wisdom, but we have to adopt new technologies so that we feed the people. So that point I would like to make, and we have to leave less carbon footprint by our agriculture. For instance, I was telling about this nitrogenous fertilizer. We can use split dose of nitrogen. Instead of applying nitrogen, indiscriminate use of nitrogen, we can split it into several dosages. In my drip irrigated system, I applied nitrogen in 45 split doses, and I could achieve 10% more yield. At the same time, I could leave less water footprint. So these are some of the technologies and adaptation methods that we have to follow. And one interesting thing I noticed in the Kaveri Delta region is, some 10 years back, we had never seen any peacock. Peacock we could see only in zoos. So now I'm very much surprised that peacock population, it outnumbers crows. I do not know whether it is due to climate change or why they have migrated from their natural habitat. Similarly, wild boars. Wild boars we have never heard of in Needamangalam area, Kodacheri area. So there are reports about wild boars damaging crops. So is it due to are they migrating to other places because of this climate change? Are they indicating something else? This thing I want to bring you to the notice of this August forum. And there is a lot of awareness needs to be created amongst the farmers in using smart farming methods. So as I was telling, giving urea in split doses, even prilled urea, you can have place urea. That doesn't mean that you should not use urea, nitrogenous fertilizer. We can use this prilled urea, pelleted forms. You can deep placement of urea is one very good technology that has been developed by IIT Madras. But however, I'm unable to get I have been trying to source that prilled urea. So if we use that kind of technology in farming, certainly we can produce more with leaving behind lesser carbon and water footprint. So this is what I wanted to emphasize upon. And one more thing I want to share is this labeling. So we have this organic farming, organic food labeling like that. So we can we think of having a labeling for products that leave behind lesser carbon footprint. So this is a wild thought that crossed my mind. And income tax, maybe Pooling in Nanban could take up the matter with Nirmala Sitharamanji, so that the income tax deduction may be given for whoever leaves lesser carbon footprint, whichever I do not know whether such sections are available, deductions are available under income tax. So lesser, if someone leaves lesser carbon footprint, they could be given some income tax benefits. These are some of the wild thoughts that came to my mind. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. Now I don't want to make it as a argument on whether green revolution really brought us food security or not, because still 40 crore people go to sleep without having one-time meal, even after 60 years of green revolution. Even the person who brought our green revolution, Dr. M.S. Swaminan, has called this as இது பசுமை புரட்சி அல்ல பேராசை புரட்சின்னு அவரே வந்து சொல்லிட்டு போனதுக்கு அப்புறம் ஐ டோன்ட் திங்க் அவர் சொல்லலைங்கிறீங்களா
சார்? இது வந்து ஆஃப்லைன் நான் பேசுறேன் அவர் சொன்னதை பத்தி.
இல்ல அவர்
I have interacted with him lot of times, sir. No, so I can talk to you offline.
No, I'm saying no. So that's a different argument.
No,
that if
so
whether
I would like to carry on the argument with you personally.
அதாவது 1870s அல்லது 1940s India faced famine because of distribution or because of yield. That's a big question. As far as a lot of farmer scientists go, the problem was with the distribution, not in the yield of the crops, is what the farmers say. Yeah, as I said, that's a different argument that you can always take. I'm not, I'm not dead against technology. I'm a person who understands technology. But I also like to add that technology is not a panacea of all our problems. Sarvaroha nivarani kadayadu tolunutpam. I can give an example. When we talked about the ozone layer depletion in the 1980s, ozone layer, when we talked about ozone layer depletion in the 1980s, all the countries, global countries, came together in Montreal in Canada, and they said we will stop using CFCs because chlorofluorocarbons was the source of ozone getting depleting. So what we did, we went into HFC, hydrofluorocarbons. But today, you know what? HFCs are greenhouse gases. They contribute to climate change. So what I'm saying is technology is not a panacea of all our problems. Technology can be an enabler. I'm not against technology. Technology definitely is an enabler. I don't deny that. But it cannot give you a sustainable long-term solution. So nature-based systems are the solutions or systems that can give you long-term solutions. Instead of spending your time on devising something on carbon capture technology. For example, I'm saying, let us all come together and improve our wetlands. Let us all come and bring together our mangrove ecosystems. Let us all come together and bring back our seagrass. Seagrass absorbs 16% more carbon than wetlands. Wetlands, people are thinking that are the largest carbon absorbent. But more than wetlands, there's a study that seagrass is the largest carbon absorbent. What I'm saying is, technology is important, is an enabler, but the solutions have to be nature-based solutions. And I would also like to recall what Nammalvaraya said. Any word that culminates in side, CIDE, will kill people. Be it suicide, genocide, homicide, pesticide, fungicide, herbicide. So this will kill people. So, I'm not here to question the wisdom of the farmers who use that. They are using it because, governments have taught them to use certain things in a certain fashion. Sorry. I'm not here to question the wisdom of the farmers. We will take that in offline.
Yes, certainly. I would like to have a number. And coming back to just a small point, you were telling about this herbicide. Actually, I would like to say that. So in my rice farm, I don't flood the field. So to produce 1 kilogram of rice, we use 6,000 liters of water, right? So picking the weed is a great challenge. So why do we import so much of water? That means in 10,000 square meters, that is 1 hectare, we import about 1,000 tons of pressure we exert on the soil. So why do we do that? Just to suppress the weed, and it releases enormous quantity of methane gas. So by growing rice in aerobic condition and by using right kind of herbicide, so gone are the days when we indiscriminately used all these chemicals. There are safer chemicals. They pass through all the labelings. They pass through all the safety measures. Then only that are being released, and without using much water. So with the same pump set, so instead of 1 acre, I'm able to increase the land area, cultivated area, in about by about 200%. So these are the advantages. See, we cannot brush away this herbicide and insecticide. I can even later I would like to talk about how we could increase the yield of cotton after growing this BT cotton. All such things are highly debatable, and we have been successfully doing it, and we leave lesser carbon footprint than our ancestors were doing it.
Any other questions that I can take, so that it's already 12:30.
Hello, one last question, sir.
Yes,
so thank you very much for accepting your invitation. I'm working in the disaster management area, from development to disaster. So till 1996, the disasters were only reactive. And after the pressure of all the governments all over the world, a high-go framework of action, and now Sendai framework is going on. So now it has become proactive. And a lot of initiatives have been taken on community-based disaster management. The community has become a stakeholder. But why that is not happening in the climate change? Why we are not very successful in making a community-based climate change adaptation? Still, it is being considered as its government is responsibility. They are working at what I got to do. That kind of mindset in existing in everywhere. So how to take it further and take it, because wonderful discussions happen, really a lot of eye-opening. And one thing you said over that everybody should come forward. So everyone's responsibility. Why that is not taking off as a community-based climate change adaptation, where we land in it?
Yeah, I think it is a lack of climate literacy in the overall society is one reason that I would feel that is what stops people from coming onto this. So that is why in the recent climate summit that culminated in the Chennai Trade Center in Chennai last month in February.
Yeah.
So we asked the government to announce a climate literacy mission. Kalvi Arivi Iyakkam. Like in the 1970s, 80s, Tamil Nadu became a 100% literate state because of Arivoli Iyakkam. because we were taught to read and write. So that is why Tamil Nadu become a 100% literate state. So for that only we have announced, we have asked the government announced, they have also, Chief Minister has announced that we will start a climate literacy mission. So which will reach out to all people, cutting across strata, gender, profession, so everything. So we have, yesterday also I had a meeting with the ACS madam on this. So we will come out with different, already some of our team members along with few other groups have prepared the material for school children to know about climate change. So from coming academic year, that will be rolled out to different classes, different schools. So it will slowly start up, and we foresee in about 5-7 years time when people will start talking about climate change, and climate change will become one of the key electoral issues. Unless it becomes an electoral issue, political parties will not react to it. If the political parties have to react to it, it has to reach the masses. So which we feel the climate literacy movement will. And from Poola also, we are doing a lot of initiatives we have met at least about 100,000 students in the last many years on youth and climate and many other activities that we have planned and conducted. We are also making it very intensively to take this message across the state. Definitely in the coming years, we'll see a change.
Right, because the CSOs, community-based societies, NGOs are ready. People are there. There is some kind of linkage is cutting off. So if that be connected, so definitely we can make a big change in the community. This would be. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And it is a pleasure to speak to you all. Happy that you have been successfully doing this for quite some time, and all the best to the organizers and the people who participate in this. Thank you.